You love your cat. You feed them. You play with them. You let them sleep on your pillow even though your allergist told you not to. You think you know your cat better than anyone else on the planet. But right now, there is a very high chance that you are touching your cat in a way that is slowly destroying your bond with them, stressing them out on a biological level, and in some cases physically hurting them. And you have absolutely no idea you are doing it. Veterinarians across the United States are flagging this exact issue in clinics every single week. Owners walk in confused about why their cat is suddenly aggressive, suddenly hiding, suddenly lashing out. And the answer almost always traces back to the same thing: the way they are touching their cat every single day. This is not about being a bad owner. The people who do this love their cats more than anything. That is actually the problem. We touch our cats the way we want to be touched, the way we show affection to other humans, the way it just feels natural to express love. And cats are simply not wired that way. Their nervous system, their social behavior, their entire evolutionary history is completely different from ours. When we ignore that gap, we pay for it in scratches, behavioral problems, and a bond that quietly erodes over months without us ever understanding why. So let's get into exactly where you should never touch your cat, and why each one is doing more damage than you realize. Sign 1. The belly trap. When your cat rolls over and exposes their belly, every instinct in your brain screams that this is an invitation. You see a dog do that, and it absolutely is an invitation. So you reach down, you go for the belly, and suddenly you have 4 sets of claws buried in your forearm, and you are bleeding on your living room floor, wondering what just happened. What happened is you misread one of the most fundamental signals in feline body language. When a cat shows you their belly, they are not asking you to touch it. They are showing you that they trust you enough to expose their most vulnerable area in your presence. It is a compliment. It is your cat saying, "I feel completely safe with you." The moment you reach for that belly, you are violating that trust in a way your cat experiences as a genuine physical threat. Every instinct they carry, going back tens of thousands of years before they ever lived alongside humans, tells them to protect that area with everything they have. Your hand reaching toward it does not feel like love. It feels like an attack. And the biting, the clawing, the going absolutely feral on your arm, that is not attitude. That is pure self-defense. Sign 2. The base of the tail. Right where the tail meets the back, there is an extremely high concentration of nerve endings. For many cats, touching this spot triggers something that feels almost involuntarily pleasurable at first, but crosses into overwhelming and deeply uncomfortable within seconds. You will recognize this pattern. You scratch near the tail, your cat seems to love it, they lift their hindquarters, they purr loudly, they push back into your hand, and then without any warning they spin around and bite you hard. Owners always say the same thing. "He was purring, I thought he loved it." There was warning. You just could not see it. The tail was twitching. The skin along the spine was rippling. The ears were slowly rotating backward. Your cat was communicating in the only language available to them, and the message never landed. Every cat has a different threshold at this spot. Some handle a few seconds. Some cannot handle it at all. And some love it right until they absolutely do not, and that switch flips in under a second. The problem is not your cat. The problem is we keep going past the line because we are not watching closely enough. Sign 3. The scruff. This is where people get into serious trouble because they have seen it done and it looks completely harmless. Mother cats grab kittens by the scruff to carry them. So the logic goes, if a mother does it, it must be natural and safe. Here is what that logic misses entirely. The mother cat does that to kittens who are weeks old and weigh almost nothing. The scruff of a kitten is specifically built for that brief transport moment. The scruff of an adult cat is not. When you grab an adult cat by the scruff, you are not replicating maternal behavior. You are triggering a fear response that temporarily paralyzes them, not because they feel safe, but because their nervous system has gone into acute stress and essentially frozen. Veterinarians used to use this technique during exams, and the field has largely moved away from it because research showed it spikes cortisol dramatically and causes serious psychological distress. Cats who are frequently scruffed show higher rates of anxiety, more frequent hiding, increased aggression, and disrupted sleep. If someone told you this is a good way to handle or discipline your cat, that information is outdated by about 20 years of animal behavior science. Sign 4. The paws. Cats use their paws for everything: hunting, communicating, grooming, navigating the world. The paws are packed with sensory receptors and are among the most sensitive areas on your cat's entire body. A lot of owners develop a habit of holding their cat's paws because it looks adorable and because cats sometimes sit still for it. But sitting still is not the same as enjoying it. Watch the tail while you do it. Watch the ears. Watch the skin rippling along the back. If you see any of that, your cat is communicating discomfort in the clearest way they know how. When we ignore those signals repeatedly, cats learn that their communication simply does not work on you. And when cats learn that, they stop warning you altogether. They skip the subtle signals entirely and go straight to the defensive bite. That is how you end up with a cat that seems to attack without any warning at all. There was always warning. We just trained them to believe it was pointless by ignoring it every single time. Sign 5. The whiskers. The whiskers are not just hair. They are highly sensitive sensory organs your cat uses to navigate space, detect air movement, and gather information about everything around them. The follicles at the base of the whiskers are loaded with nerve endings and blood vessels. Touching the whiskers directly, pressing on their base, or stroking the facial fur in that area sends a genuinely uncomfortable signal that many cats find distressing every single time you do it. This is also why some cats pull food out of their bowl and eat it off the floor instead. The bowl presses against their whiskers the whole time they eat, and it irritates them enough to change their entire behavior around mealtime. If you are regularly stroking your cat's face and running your fingers through those whiskers, you are creating that same quiet discomfort on repeat, even when your cat is sitting perfectly still and letting you do it. Because tolerating something and enjoying something are never the same thing. Now here is what you need to know. The safe zones are behind the ears, under the chin, and along the cheeks. When your cat rubs their face against you, they are using those exact spots to mark you, which in cat language means you are mine, and I feel good about that. Start there. Let your cat lead, and let them decide when it ends. A cat that loves you is making a daily choice to stay in your space. Do not make them regret it. The bond you want is completely possible. You just have to stop touching them here.